Hi guys, welcome to another Divi theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Oh, we got a fun one for you today. We've built this gallery here. It's a little custom gallery. When we hover over it, it's going to have a little zoom effect on each of the images here. And of course you can click on one, pop it out into Lightbox, or if you don't want to, you can link any of these images to anywhere on the web you want. Really easy to do, so let's get started. Let's add a new page. Now we'll call it Custom Gallery, call yours what you want. And we'll use the Divi builder. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and build from scratch. If we look at this one over here, I've actually built it using rows. And I've got a row with a column, 50% there, and 25%. Then this one below is the other way around. This one I've just got 25%. This one I've got 2 25s and a 50. Like I say, you can mix and match. And this is going to work best if you use images that have the same aspect ratio, that are the same shape, in other words. So let's do that. Go back to our page here. I'm going to start off with this one, which has got 2 25s and a 50. Get creative, do it how you wish. Okay, we're going to put our first images, and I'm just using an image module to do this today. And before we put any more images in, we're going to want to adjust this to exactly the way we want it. So let's throw an image in. Okay, just down below you can decide whether you want it to open in a Lightbox or whether you want to link it to a URL somewhere on the web. Always best practice, if you're linking to your own site, leave it in the same window. If you're linking off-site, open it in a new tab, that way your site's going to stay open. I'm going to have mine open in a Lightbox. Don't want any background or admin label. What I am going to do though, is I want a little gap on mine, just around 1 pixel border between each of mine. So to do that, I'm actually going to go to Design. I'm going to go down to Spacing. I'm going to use Margin. I'm going to give it a 1 pixel margin all around. And that'll show the white background through there. And I'll show you what to do if you want to change color. I want to do the same for left and right as well. Now when you hover over these images, it usually gives it a name over there. If you want to change that to something pertinent, or just delete it permanently, you can put a title text in there. But for instance, if I write something in there, now I hover over it, it's got something there. When you upload your images, a lot of the time you're going to have the image name there. Like I say, if you want it, great, leave it. If you don't, you can change it or delete it altogether. Now when I hover over it, there's nothing there. Great. Well, let's add a couple more images now. We've got things going kind of like we want to. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this. So to duplicate, I'm going to hit the 2 little squares. I'm going to drag one over. I'm going to drag one over again. Duplicate one more time. So the big one. That's great. Then we want one below these. So I'm just going to hit the duplicate button. There's my little margin that we put in there. And the same here. Now, of course, you don't want the same images, so let's go in and change out our images. Takes a little bit longer, but I think the results are worth it. And we'll go in, let's change this one out for a different one. Let's perhaps use that one. Great, well that's okay, but I don't want all these gaps. I want these kind of lined up next to each other completely with just my little 1 pixel margin going on there. So to do that, we can go into our row, the green tab here. We can go over to Design, to Sizing, use Custom Gutter Width. I'm going to select Yes. I'm going to take this down to 1, which means there'll be no actual gap between them. As you can see, they butted up, and we've just got our 1 pixel border going on around each of those. Now we've got our first one here. It gets a lot easier. We can just duplicate the row, and we'll switch the row around the other way by hitting the little row column structure button here right in the middle. And we'll switch it from 25, 25, 50 to 50, 25, 25, or whatever you want to use on yours. You just need to drag one of these up here. Of course, we need to change out all these images. So I'll pause this and I'm going to go in there, do exactly the same. I'm just going to change out the images, as you can see. Okay, as you can see, I've changed out those images there, but we don't want any gap between our two little rows there. So let's go into our top row. I'm going to go over to design. You can go back into spacing. And for padding bottom, I'm just going to put a 0 in there. I'm going to hit the change so we've got no padding on the top also. We'll save that. And what we can do, rather than having to go into the other one, we can just right click on the next one. Hit copy row styles, or we could have hit extend as well. Right click on our next one. Or we can paste row styles. And we got them butted up against each other there. Now what I did with my last one is I added a row that's slightly different. I just had 4 similar, or you can make 5 or 6 or whatever you wanted. I put 4 in there. But I'm sure you get the picture. I'm not going to repeat doing that because it's exactly the same. And then I added some more little sections like that. Now to add a little bit more interest, I gave mine a coloured background, but that's entirely up to you. But there's one more step we need to do if we're going to give it a coloured background. So let's just give this a coloured background. And I'll use a dark colour like I did on that last one, perhaps on 24, 24. First thing you're going to notice, if we've lost our little white lines in there, it's because that was the background. To get those back couldn't be easier. We go into the row itself. You can give it a background colour. Just use a white. And you can see they're back. We can do exactly the same with our next row. Or you could just extend styles again. Now that we've got this, I want to add that little zoom effect that we had on this one. Because when you hover over, it's going to expand. To do that, we'll add a little code module because we really just want this on this page for this particular gallery. So I'm going to add a new little row down the bottom. And I'll make it a single column. I'm going to throw a little code module in there. Now we're going to be writing a little bit of CSS here. So we need to open what they call style tags. And a style tag is left pointy bracket, the word style, and right pointy bracket. When you put the right pointy bracket in, it'll put the closing one in there for you. Now, as usual, I'll put this code down below the video. I would urge you to actually write it out yourselves though, because it's a great thing to learn and will take your editing skills really to the next level. Only thing I can't put below because of the pointy brackets are the style tags, so you'll have to write your own style tags. Then we'll give it a title. Titles are /*/. Anything you write in between the stars will not be read as codes. It's a great place for titles or notes. I'm just going to say zoom. Okay, I know that these have a class name of ETPB image. If you don't or not sure, I'm using Google Chrome here. You can hit the F12 key or right click on one of these and hit inspect. Most browsers have this nowadays. And it'll show you the actual image and it'll give you the class names over here. As long as you've got styles, it'll say CSS, and elements, it'll give you the HTML. So you can get the class names that way. I happen to know mine because I've done this several times. So class names always have a dot or a period. So it's ET_PB. And that's really Elegant Themes Page Builder image. Well, I want to create a hover effect. So right after the E of image there with no gap, I'm going to put a colon and then the word hover with no gap after the colon. We can open and close some curly brackets here. And I want it to scale up or get bigger. Well, about twice the size. So I'm going to say transform. Colon. We want to transform scale. Right at the end of the E of scale, we'll put some round brackets. And I want to make it grow by 2 or twice as big. If I hover over, you can see that actually happening. But look at these images here. They're overspilling everything beside them, which is not what I want at all. And it's happening instantly. I want it to sort of fade in like a zoom effect. More like this one over here. Let's get rid of that inspector. So I'm going to take my class name without the hover and without the colon, Control C to copy. I'm going to drop down below my closing curly bracket there. I'm going to pop that one in. I'm going to open some more curly brackets, and this is the regular style. I'm going to give it a transition duration, which will slow that effect down. So let's say transition duration, and let's perhaps give it almost a second. I'm going to give mine 0.8 of a second, 0.8s. That'll work for me. Slow it down, give it a longer time, speed it up, give it a shorter time than that. As you can see, it's now actually doing it a lot more gracefully. But we don't want all of that junk spilling out over the side of everything. So I also happen to know that this has got what they call an image wrap. I hit my F12 and inspect one of these again. Right, there's the image itself, but it's got a wrap, what they call, around it. And you can see it highlighting as I'm putting my mouse over there, which is actually the footprint of the image itself. Now, I don't want this to change. I don't want to see anything that's going to scale outside of there. So I can use that class name. If you don't want to write out a class name, you can double click on it and just copy it. We'll go back. Drop down one more. Remember, it's a class name, so it needs a dot or a period in front. And don't forget, this code's down below. So I know some people do get a little bit anxious about coding, but there really is nothing to CSS at all. Okay, and image wrap, I want to say overflow. Put a colon at the end of the overflow there. And I'm going to say hidden. Don't want to see any of it at all. Now, this might not work on the back end, but it should work on the front end. Yeah, we've got a problem on the back end. Let's save what we've got here. Let's save our page changes down here. Save draft or publish if you're ready. Let's exit the Visual Builder. There's our little gallery. There's our little hover effect. As you can see now, we're on the front end. It's being contained there. And of course, we've got our little Lightbox effect to pop it out. Well, as I mentioned earlier, you can go to any URL you want. So there you go, guys. There's how to create a custom gallery with a little Lightbox effect and a zoom. Really nice little feature to have on your website. And as I say, you can just continue going, make that as big or as small as you want, and create a fantastic little gallery. And of course, it's totally responsive. If I hit my F12 key again, and we'll take a look on a little iPad or something. Here it is on an iPad. They just got to click on it. It'll Lightbox out. When they X out, it'll kind of zoom back in for them there. It works perfectly. Then on iPhone, they're going to stack. So look on an iPhone 12. We've got our images stacked on the iPhone just like that. And again, they can click on them. It'll Lightbox them out. X out. It'll zoom back in for them. So there you have it. I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget, if you have any questions, pop them down below the video. I'll do my best to answer them for you, or make a little demo video just like this one. So once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and WebDesignerTechTips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.